Today, I have somebody incredibly special just for you. She is an absolute genius when it comes to marketing for small businesses. Has got so much experience it almost is mind-boggling, and she's an absolute expert at helping you get more traction through PR and through influencer marketing. You guys, if you want your brand to grow to the absolute next level in 2024, this interview is going to be key for you. Welcome to the Marketing Wizards Inner Circle show. Fairlane Raymundo, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here and excited to share whatever it is that I can help your audience with.
Absolutely. And you guys, I love Fairlane's story. It's so wonderful because you kind of came into this with this whole lot of experience, Fairlane. I mean, you come onto this from different angles with a genuine heart to help small business owners get really big results. So before we dive into the nitty gritty about how to effectively attract influencers and use PR, tell us a little bit about how you stumbled into this, because wasn't something that you set out to do right away.
Oh, definitely not. I migrated here. I was born and raised in the Philippines. Early
Okay.
part of my career was actually in the Philippines. And there I worked for one of the biggest advertising agencies in the world, DDB. And I owe a lot to that company. They're such a good company and such a good advertising agency. And so a bulk of my experience in um, traditional advertising, meaning TV, radio, print,
Right.
360 is what we call it. It really came from them. So I was handling both local and international brands. So when I moved here about 12 years ago, just like any immigrant, you start from the bottom. And
Sure.
so I had to, and just like anybody starting from the bottom, you take whatever opportunity comes your way. And that's when I started going deeper into each of the different aspects of advertising and marketing. And
Mm-hmm.
PR was one of them. At that time, there were two things that a lot of new brands and a lot of small businesses were really looking for: somebody that can help them with SEO, someone that
Okay.
can help them with social media, and someone that can help them with lead generation, because it's all about exactly measuring your results nowadays, right? And so those were three things that they were always looking for. And it just so happened that as I tried to navigate my way into the marketing world, PR was something that I realized was the most effective.
Mm.
So that's how I decided, okay, maybe it's time to go back into that one aspect of my career in the Philippines. Let's just go back to PR and see how what kind of role PR can play into SEO, social media, advertising, and just lead generation in general.
And that's fascinating because I think a lot of us small business owners, we face all of these different people wanting us to do their thing. They want
Right.
us to do social media content. They want us to do Facebook social media ads, Google ads, SEO, right? And becomes you just get really torn back and forth. So, and we talked about this before too. I want to dive into what the difference is between PR versus SEO versus paid ads and versus big media buy ads, that type of thing. But before we do, Fairlane, I love the fact that you have this you have this humble way about you with such incredible results. Yes,
Thank you.
Fairlane is
Thank
like
you.
she's done these amazing things for companies, and she's so humble about it. So it's amazing. Now, when you were working with the big firms,
Mhm.
what was the biggest difference, Fairly, working with these big firms back in the Philippines and then coming over to North America and working with smaller businesses? What do you think was one of the biggest things that shifted in how those two different business types really operate?
Politics is the biggest one, quite honestly. If it's a
Okay.
big company, there's so many layers, so many different ways of getting things approved. You wait a long time.
Mm,
If it's an international brand, whatever message they want to deliver for that year, it always has to come from the regional main office. So it's
okay.
really the politics cascading everything down. However, the one thing that is good about them, and I think this is something that they realize later on, is that no matter how high up in their horses they are, at
Yeah.
the end of the day, it's still about localizing your message. um,
Oh, that's
a lot of
good.
yeah, a lot of people still talk about like, oh, people want to get into the Western messaging or whatever. At the end of the day, if the things that you're saying does not resonate with the local audience, you're not going to sell anything.
I
So
love
that
that.
that is one thing they learned. That's one thing that we adapted. When I moved here and started working for small businesses, I think it's just
Mhm.
the speed of things, because there's lesser layers to get approval from. Things
Right.
are much more um, transparent in the way they do things.
Okay.
The feedback is faster, and you also get to adjust your strategy, your implementation faster. So, yeah, two main differences.
Gotcha. I love that. And what you just said there about no matter how big the company is, right? This is about it's always about the local impact. I mean, you see these big franchises and stuff like that. And I've got a friend of mine that owns a Tim Hortons. So it's like a coffee shop, sandwich
Right.
shop, right?
Yeah.
Up here in Canada. And he, you know, it's a big brand. He's part of this franchise. He owns three of them now, and they're successful because of what they do in the local area. It has nothing really to do with the big platform, the
Right.
big franchise.
Right.
It's how their culture of their team, how
Right.
it's working, and how effective it is about their local influence and what they do in the local area. So I think that's so true and very
Yeah.
very powerful.
I think one of the best examples would be McDonald's. DDB was actually handling part of the McDonald's account in the Philippines, and
Okay,
they were so they had an international campaign, something about love this or something like that, and so they had to localize that message in every country, but they
sure.
also had to localize their menu. I mean, a lot of
Mm,
the things that we have in the Philippines for McDonald's, you don't have here.
okay,
So it's not just about marketing, and that's another thing. It's not about the marketing can only do so much. It can do a lot. Can do
yeah.
a lot. I think Apple has proven that. But to a certain extent, especially if it's a fast consumer good, you need to really get down to what the locals would want. Otherwise, they're not going to support you.
Yeah, doesn't matter how good the marketing and sales are. If it's not something somebody wants, you're not
Exactly.
going to move it, right? Right. That, my friends, if you're in business right now, what Fairlane and I just said, reiterated it twice over, that might be the most important thing you hear all day long. If it's not going to be something the consumer wants to buy, it ain't going to sell it.
Correct.
Okay. So now when you got started in LA, because Fairlane's coming to us from LA, you guys, um, as you said, you were kind of starting at the bottom. Why did you decide to focus on PR as opposed to some of these other things that you'd been doing when you were with the bigger agency?
Because it addressed a lot of the concerns, a lot of the needs of the
Okay.
clients. So one would be if you're a small business, there are two main problems that you always encounter: credibility
Mm,
and getting noticed.
okay.
So usually getting noticed is the first one, and then after you get noticed, how do you establish your credibility? When you get noticed, not one there are different ways of getting noticed, but one of the if you want something sustainable, because that's the question, right? You can get noticed in an instant. You do a silly stunt out there, you're probably going to get noticed, but the
Right.
question is it the kind of attention that you want? So if you want the right kind of attention, you do need to execute it the proper way. So
Mm,
depending on your brand, once they're the best way to get noticed is to get mentioned by the right people, and so you're addressing the two immediately, because then you enjoy the influence of other people and you enjoy the credibility that comes with it. So that PR addresses that right off the bat, because one of the things that PR is good at doing is using and leveraging the credibility of many publications, many other
mm,
personalities to your favor, right?
hmm.
If you want to place an ad on Forbes, for example, just the publication, how much is it going to cost you? 10 grand, easy. Um,
Easy.
Easy, yeah. The probably I know for a fact that their minimum is like 75 grand actually, or something like that. So, but if you're a small business, that's probably some small businesses would earn that in a year. I mean, for you to spend that in one publication.
Yep.
So the only way for you to do that, for you to get and leverage the credibility of Forbes, is through public relation, from through PR. And then once you have that credibility with you, Google will also find you credible. So it's
Mm.
easier for them to search your name, because then they know, oh, Forbes mentioned this brand. Then maybe they are credible. So it's worth searching their website now.
Right, right, right. What I love about that, Fairlane, is that you're touching on, I think, what a lot of people they forget is the key element of what marketing really is, which is about trust,
Right.
right?
Right.
Awareness and trust. And you use the word credibility, which is great. But like this is the thing that like we have to build trust. We have to be attracting people to us. Of course, that's the getting aware of what your brand is, what you stand for, what you offer. But that credibility, aka that trust factor, is what's going to push people, pardon me, to buying from you, to actually moving forward with what you have to offer. And PR is such a powerful way of doing that.
Right.
So I love that you focus there. Now, walk us through a little bit about then the speed of it, like how quickly for and if you have an example that'd be great, like how quickly can PR really help change the landscape for one of your clients?
It can change it overnight, literally.
Okay.
For as long as you have the right message, for as long as you're writing your press release the right way,
Hmm.
you're using the right keywords, you're reaching out to the right reporters, it can change it overnight. Because from, if, for example, a Market Watch is such a credible and big news company, if they pick up what you have, or a reporter from Forbes magazine, for example, picks up whatever it is that you're releasing, that's it. You're gonna blow up, because how
Hmm.
many? That's millions of people, millions of eyeballs on your business. But the key again is, what is it that you're saying, right? If you're a coffee shop in La Brea, in California, somewhere in California, I
Okay.
mean, well and good, people, Forbes is still gonna print it, but is it worth the attention for everybody else, for the
Sure.
rest of the country? So it can change your business overnight, but it's all about the right kind of message that you're targeting.
So now do you find that you're working mostly with national brands now, Fairlane, or are you
Uh,
working with localized brands?
no, it's usually national brands, but
Okay.
a lot of them are doing business both in person and online.
Right.
Yeah. So, and that's a big thing, because as we all know, there's a lot of concerns right now about opening retail stores. It's not the
Yeah.
safest in a lot of other areas, but you still want to be able to sell things if that is what you do. So, having one place that you can say, "Hey, I have a store here," that builds up credibility. But then
Hmm.
still being allowing yourself to do business online, utilizing Amazon or other retail stores, and then also shipping your goods yourself. That's also a good thing.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. And so at this point, we're talking about PR when it comes to getting a big organization like a Forbes or New York Times or one of these big publications to maybe promote you in a story or feature you somehow. What would you say then about working with sort of smaller, more local influencers or just people in influencer individuals? Have you had the chance to do that very often?
Yeah, I've had the chance to work on with them on both ends, because there are
Okay.
influencers that also need their own PR,
Sure.
because they want to build their own name. So I've worked with them on that capacity. And then I've worked with them on the other end, where we are trying to get them to interview or feature some of the brands that we're working with. So maybe let's talk about the if when we're working with them first. There are it all boils down to the consistency of the message. If your product is geared towards, let's say, kids, it's
Yeah.
useless for you to be talking to gamers, influencers who are gamers or are in tech
Pardon me.
industry. You might
Okay.
as well go for parents, influencers that are on the parenting side, or
Mm.
child psychologists or something like that. So it's all about the consistency of the message. Second is that influencers don't work for free. They
Right.
work very, very hard to build their brand. And I know a lot of people are, they can say a lot of things about influencers. At the end of the day, they've hustled, they've worked for their brand so that they can
Oh
have
yeah.
that kind of influence. And so you have to respect that. Don't ask them to give you things for free, right? PR is supposed to be free, but there are some things that you do need to pay for. You can't
Hmm.
go to them and say, "Oh, hey, can you give me um, an hour feature in your show and then nothing in return?" There's got to be there need you need to give them something, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
so you need to know where the sweet spot is. What is it? If you're not willing to give them money, which is the easiest way to work with them, but if you're not willing to give them money, what is it that you're going to give them? If they have 1 million subscribers and your brand is 3 day old, what do they need from you,
Yeah.
right? You need to give them something that you would know they can use for free. Now, if on the other side, a lot of influencers are, they want it fast. They want to
Okay.
build their credibility fast. And the thing is that you do need to specialize um, on a specific thing if you want reporters to be interested in you as an influencer.
So, when you say specialize in a specific thing, what do you mean by that, Fairlane? Can you give an example?
Yes, you have to be as specific as possible. If you say, um, I'm a child psychologist, for example.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Yep.
there are 5,000 other child psychologists out there. What do you specialize in? Do you specialize in, this is just an example, but do you specialize in children who are children of immigrants in the US, or
Okay.
children of pastors or something like that?
Right.
So,
Okay.
as specific as you can, the better it is. Now, that being said, the more specific you are, you can't instantly expect that you will have opportunities right away
Hmm.
because it's very, very specific. So you do need to be patient. It's all about waiting for the right time, but it's also about being prepared so that when the right time comes, you're there. So this is just an example. We have I'm representing a serial entrepreneur, and he's very much into alternative business, alternative investments, and alternative assets. And so we were trying to build him up in that way for a long time. And there's a lot of opportunities for alternative investments in the finance space. But he wants a very specific thing, and this is about precious metals. He wants
Hmm. Okay.
gold and silver and whatever. And then suddenly, um, the BRICS nation started buying. BRICS is the organization of different countries made up of Brazil, Russia, India, China. And then I think it was the IMF who released an information that says the BRICS nation have been buying gold, a lot
Hmm.
of gold for the last 5 years, and they're most likely uh, underreporting how much they're buying. And so everyone came to us because we have been marketing him as the guy who knows a
Uh,
lot about gold and silver. But if we didn't do that, if we didn't work in making sure that he's always there, we're always reaching out to these reporters, when the opportunity comes, then they wouldn't remember him, right?
right.
So you have to be specific, know what you really want, but you also need to be very, very patient.
Love it. And you know what? Those are words of wisdom, my friends, to live by when it comes to marketing in general, right? Like just like it's obviously very important as an influencer or when you're looking to attract and work with a specific influencer, but also just in general, like specify your marketing. Don't be afraid to really pinpoint exactly who you want to serve and how you want to serve them because there's a lot of noise out there, right, Fairlane? There's a lot of
Right.
people out there marketing. There's a lot of people out there trying to sell their stuff. I had a 17-year-old kid in my office today making dog treats and he's been at it since he was 14 years old. And he's making dog treats, and he now wants to sell them to retailers in the local area. And he's now coming into this thing where he's like, okay, I was this 14, 15-year-old kid doing this. Now I'm 17. My branding has matured a little bit. Like he's not sure how to put himself into the marketplace to be unique, right? And so we were having a good conversation about that. I mean, kudos to this kid, 17 years old, built himself a
Yeah. Oh,
business.
yeah.
Right? Good for him.
The hustle.
Hustle, hustle, yeah.
Yeah. I think
um,
the other thing that, oh, sorry, go ahead. You weren't
no,
finished yet.
and I was just going to say that we can't be afraid to narrow it down in order to stand out, because otherwise, a lot of business owners, no matter how good their product is, and you've seen this before too, Fairlane, I'm sure, they just get swallowed up by the noise and the cacophony of all this other stuff going on. And I mean, they're on this quest to do something amazing, but
Right.
they're just going to get drowned out by everybody else wanting to also do something if they don't stand out from the crowd.
Right. I think I also want to add the expectation. A lot of the so we there's a clothing company. It's a new brand, but it's a
Okay.
clothing company, and they wanted to specialize in gender neutral clothing, and that's a great thing. I think any kind of passion, for as long as you're passionate with it, that's great. And so we were like, hey, that's great. Um, but the truth is that even big brands are trying to go gender neutral. And if you have
Mm,
Christian Dior or Balenciaga or whatever trying to go gender neutral, what is it that you can say that will be different from what they're saying? And imagine there are like how many luxury brands out there that are doing it, and then you have the mid-tier brands. So it all boils down again to that. Like, give me something unique, and I can't give that to you. I mean,
yeah.
I'm supposed to represent you. I'm not supposed to dictate what your message is. However, what we can do, which is all dependent on the PR company that you're going to or the publicist that you're going to hire, is how is it that we're going to bring it out of you? Because I do believe
Mm,
that someone who's passionate about something will always have something unique to offer. It is just a matter of one, that you be having the ability to take it out of you, and
yeah.
once they take it out of you, the willingness to actually put it out there, because a
Love that.
lot of people can actually be very embarrassed in what they're trying to do, believe it or not. They're so passionate with it, but they're so embarrassed about it,
Hmm.
which is kind of odd for me. So, like, okay, this is what we think you should do, and you're going to rise above the clutter, but do you have the guts to actually say all of the things that you're supposed to say? So
Right.
that's another thing.
And ain't that the truth, right? Like to be big and bold and build a business, my friends, it takes guts. It
Yeah.
takes lots of guts, like Fairlane just said. Okay, now we talked a little bit in our preliminary interview about the difference between PR, SEO, paid ads, and then sort of big media, TV, radio buy ads. Put those four things into boxes for us, Fairlane. What's the real distinct difference? Because I think you and I can agree that sometimes you want a myriad of them. Like you
Right.
want like I call them marketing habitats. Like they all
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
function into each other. But talk to us a little bit about what each one of those specific things really serves, and how PR really stands out amongst them.
Okay. So there you do need to understand the journey of your customers to begin with.
Okay.
When they are going to buy something, they don't just wake up in the morning and tell themselves, I'm going to buy a pair of pants. It doesn't happen like that. It usually is motivated by something. Oh, I lost weight. I need a new pair of pants. Oh my
Right.
God, I only have new skinny jeans, and it's all about loose jeans nowadays because of the Y2K trend. I need a new. It has to come from something and somewhere. And then once they say, okay, I think I'm going to buy a new pair of pants, then it boils down to what kind of pants am I going to buy, right? So, and
Mm-hmm.
then what kind of pants am I going to buy? What are the options out there? And then once I see all of my options, oh, I don't know. Let me ask my friends, do I look good in this kind of pants or whatever? So you do need to understand your customer's journey first, up to the time that they make a purchase. And once you
Mm-hmm.
understand the journey, the different stages, then you will know which media belongs to a certain stage, right? So
Mm.
usually what we say is TV and radio rarely do they go in the bottom of the funnel, meaning they rarely are the decision, the breaking point. They usually won't push somebody to buy something. They
It's
usually are.
unlikely that I'm going to see an ad for that pair of pants while I'm watching the hockey game and then suddenly grab my phone and buy them, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's very rare. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you have somebody very, very influential that can move
Right.
mountains, and there are some people like that.
Or some
Um,
people that are just really impulsive.
right, right. Yeah, yeah. I remember, just to add to that, I remember watching the Korean boy band
Okay.
BTS.
Yeah.
I think they were in an airport or something, and then they just sold out the shirts that they were wearing right at that minute. Those that yeah, I mean, if you can get an influencer like that on your side, but that's going to cost you gazillions, so never mind.
Right.
So yeah, so usually TV, radio, traditional media, they're on the top of the funnel. And then you have your SEO, you have your social media campaigns. Those are the ones that belong to the middle, because that's when your customers are trying to decide, what is it that I'm going to buy. um,
Mm,
is this does this fit me? Does it look good? Wait a minute, what's my budget? So that's where you put all those information. You have to be more educational on your website. You provide them with all the information that they need.
right.
And usually it's the point of sale that makes the actual sale, and that's usually paid search. Well, depending on this is in general terms, paid search, stuff like that. Now, PR is usually in the middle and on the top. So you go top all the way to the middle. That's where PR is. Now, the one thing is that it's actually wrong to think that putting your brand on TV is very expensive. You
Mm,
can do it very, very strategic now. There, you can buy a spot for like $75.
okay.
Yeah, so there you can do it. There are some remnant agencies, if you want to search. I don't specialize in that, but there are some remnant TV agencies that can help you put your TV spots on TV.
Okay.
So those are the different ways. Now, um, for in terms of budgeting, naturally, because TV requires more expenses, there's the production side, and then there's all the legalities. So you do need to check whatever it is that you're claiming, and then putting it on TV, the media spot. Usually, that's the most expensive one, and the
Mm,
hardest part is the measure part. I mean, how do you measure it? How do you know
yeah.
if it's effective or not? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
As opposed to SEO, as opposed to paid ads, social media campaigns, those are easier, because then it's always, if they don't click, I'm not going to attribute the success of that specific sale to you.
Right.
So that's the advantage of all of those things. But then again, you're also contending with Google because they're the biggest.
Sure.
So your audience becomes not just the end consumer, but Google too. So
Mm,
even if you want to say, hey, and even if you know this for sure, like, I sell the best coffee in the whole of LA. I know that I'm better than Starbucks, I'm better than whatever. I know that. The best coffee. But Google's going to ask you, well, how do you prove that? Show me
mm,
something that says you're the best in some way. So
okay.
so then you have to think about, I have two customers actually. I'm thinking about Google, and then I'm thinking about my end consumer. And so now what PR can actually offer is a shortcut for Google and for your TV. So once you release a press release, for example, which is the easiest thing to do, you release as I've mentioned earlier, you can leverage on the name of Forbes.
Right.
If they pick you up. So for example, Forbes or Market Watch or whatever, if they pick up whatever it is that you're trying to sell, if you're trying to target young mothers out there for some reason, and they're always looking for something like that, if they print it out, somebody searches for it, you're in number one, because they're always in page one, right?
Mm, hmm.
And then they do it fast, and Google likes new things. So that's the advantage of PR. You get a shortcut of your SEO, and
Okay.
then you get a shortcut for your TV.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. And I think it's so important, Fairlane, what you just described, that client journey element, to for us small business owners to recognize that doing PR, doing SEO, those are attraction mechanisms,
Right.
right? And they're then what you need to ensure that your marketing is going to be effective in generating you sales. there's got to be some conversion tool that's in it. There's got to be some conversion process. And it boggles my mind. I mean, it shouldn't boggle my mind. I've spent decades figuring this stuff out, but it still, there's a lot of small business owners that don't understand that there has to be some conversion method in there to
Right.
take what Fairlane does beautifully and brilliantly and get you all this attention. What's the conversion metric that's going to come in and go, now we're going to take this person who's watching
Right.
and turn them into a lead, which can lead directly to a customer. So
Right.
there's like all of this stuff that we're layering in, you guys, is that your marketing serves this massive portfolio of the client journey, which is, brand recognition or attention, right? Problem awareness, all the way through down to understanding what solution it is you offer. But without a conversion mechanism, doesn't matter how good the marketing systems are that my company provides, doesn't matter how good Fairlane's attention getting PR is going to do. Having that conversion system there, knowing what it is that you do to convert somebody, that's where the rubber really meets the road.
Right, right. And that's actually more complicated than a lot of people think it is.
Mm-hmm.
One of the major mistakes of many brands is that there is no consistency with their marketing and the point of sale.
Yes.
So, for example, we see a lot of people say, "Oh, give say this, say that you found us, that we sent you, and we'll give you 20% off."
Right.
Right? They click on something, and the 20% off is not there. So there's an immediate disconnect. People are frustrated. They're going to think you're a liar. So
Yep.
all those hard work that you did came back to nothing. And
Well,
then
and
the other
that's
thing,
like what that's what I said. It's trust, right? It's about
yeah,
trust. Like
exactly,
you're
yeah,
not gonna that they have to, and for them not to give you a refund or ask for
right,
a refund or return,
right,
the trust has to go even further than just the sale, just the
right.
purchase of sale moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've also experienced like people, if there is a hotline, people are going to call the business and
Sure.
say, "Oh, how did you start?" There are some customers that are chatty. They go, "Oh, how did you start working with this specific influencer?" And the person on the other line had absolutely no idea who that influencer is. I mean, how
Yeah.
are you going to, you're a company, whatever the top people do, the people at the bottom must know, so
They
that
should know.
because
Yep.
they're the ones that are getting in touch with the customers, they're the ones that are talking with the customers, they need to know.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. So now for those who are watching, Fairlane is brilliant at this. Okay. She's brilliant at this. And she has let me know that she's very willing to give you a free 30-minute consultation. Okay. To find out how she can help you, how her and her team can help you. So if you want to reach out to her, if you want to connect with her and find out, how her team does what they do, whether it fits with your company, because and Fairlane and I can agree that not every marketing concept or tool or idea strategically works with every company, right?
Right.
And here's case in point. I think Fairlane would agree with me here. If someone is on the phone with you and they're trying to sell you marketing services and they're trying to wedge whatever they do into what you do, no matter what they're trying to find, then I would run away from that person,
Right. Right. Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense, and they're just trying to get a sale. Anyway, I digress. It's like I haven't had those conversations 100 times. But contact Fairlane, you guys. Go over to Raycom Media, or Raycom Media, I should say, .net. You can check her out. You can reach out to her. Let her know that you saw this episode or saw her interview on the Marketing Wizards Inner Circle, and she will give you a free 30-minute consultation. Where what are you going to dive into, Fairlane? What are you going to show them and give them a deep dive on when you do this consultation?
It will be like a first date. It will be a getting to know each other. I just want to know, at the end of the day, I want to know first, how concrete your vision is.
Okay.
And then in there is really there, is PR really even an option for you? I mean, is it something that you should do now, or maybe something that you should do later?
Mm,
I think I've developed a as a name in the industry for saying no to clients. I am very honest. If I don't think that it fits, I will just say no, because I don't
good.
want anybody wasting their time. Second is that I also am taking care of my own credibility. I don't want you to go in and I promise you things that will not do, that I won't be able to deliver for your business.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't want to do that. So let's get to know each other. Let's see if it fits. Then we'll work together.
Brilliant. Love it. Love it. Love it. Um, okay. So final few questions here, Fairlane. Final few questions. Why do you do this? What was the big draw? Like, why did you decide to move into the marketing space, and what was the big draw for you?
One of the things that I really love doing is finding the uniqueness in things.
Hmm.
Uh, and I found that I'm really very good at it. It might not be a Miss Universe kind of answer, but that's really it. I'm really very good at finding the uniqueness in things. So even if it is a business or a person for that matter, I am able to either craft it so that it sounds very unique or actually find something that's unique in the person that most of the time the person doesn't or the business doesn't even recognize.
Hmm.
And I love sharing that as well. So I think that's what made me want to go into it because I enjoy doing it, and if I enjoy doing it, I know I'll be good at it. Second is that I really enjoy the interaction with different businesses. There's so many small business owners, many new influencers with so many ideas. I get to learn from them a lot. The most of the time, even with these consultations, the free consultations that I do, I always end up. I feel like I'm always in the winning end because I learn so much from other people.
Very
Very
cool. Love it. Love it. Okay. Um, and then I wanted to just quickly touch on as well the idea of how do I want to put this? If we're 12 months from now, okay,
Right.
and you know, Fairlane has reached what she wants to do, and Reiko Media is really rocking it. What does that look like? Where does your business look like in 12 months from now?
Hope we're always saying that we on our side of the business, as I've said, PR cannot cover the point of sale. We only cover to a certain extent, right? So we will be setting up metrics,
Mm,
things that we will agree on, and we're always hitting at least our goal is to get 200% growth in whatever metrics that we will agree on. I have never missed yet in all the clients that I have handled, but that's where we should be. So just want to clarify, like in terms of the metrics, like for example, as you've said, no matter how good the positioning is that I have for you, if people go to your website, they click on buy now, and they can't buy a thing, there's absolutely nothing I can do about that, right? So
yes.
we will be working with you on that. We even help the client actually monitor and
Okay.
see what's wrong with the whole client experience. But after 12 months, if everything is good, then you should be in whatever metrics that we agree on. You should be 200% up. Just want to say this though. I really love working with new businesses that I actually have decided that's what I will do. So I also have let go of clients once
Mm,
they get to a certain level of success. And I feel like, okay, I think you need like the big ones now. Go ahead and find a new agency because then those things they do a lot of things that I am not willing to do anymore.
right. Right.
So that I do as well. Like I'm for small businesses who want to get to a certain level of success. Then I think it would even come from me. I would tell you that it's time for you to look for a bigger agency.
Love it. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. And then my sort of final question for there's two things. Two things. If you were to be sitting in front of a business owner right now, a small business owner, and they want to get started, what would be one really savvy or really sound piece of advice that you'd love to give them?
Know who you are. That's first. Just know who you are. What is it that you're trying to do? What is it
Hmm.
that you really want to achieve? And that should be answerable with a single sentence at gunpoint. Because there's a lot of businesses like,
Single
oh,
sentence at gunpoint.
at
Love it.
gunpoint. Because there's a lot of business, and I understand why they're like that. But there's a lot of businessmen, entrepreneurs who would go, I want to become the biggest supplier of
Yeah. Blah
soda
blah blah. Sure.
in the U.S. and also serve this. What I just want. You're either serving somebody or you're trying to make a sale. Make a
Yeah.
decision. What is the priority, and everything else will be a priority. So that would be it. What is it that you're trying to do? One sentence at gunpoint. And then there are some other things that I would really love to know as well. Like why are you even doing this? Like, you, I
Sure.
know you have a goal. Why are you doing this? And second is that, how far are you willing to go? Like, how hard are you willing to work for this? Or is it something that you're doing just on the side, but you actually have a full-time job? The more clear we are in those things, then the better we can work together.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. And that's so true. Man, is that ever true? Clarity is just such a critical piece, especially when you're hiring agencies to consult you in your business and help it get somewhere. They don't know where to direct you. They don't know what pedals to push. They don't know what vehicle to put you in if you don't know exactly what you want,
Right.
when you want to get there, and how you want to get there. So,
Yes.
very good advice. Thank you so much. And so, Fairlane, my final question for you: did you have a good time? I had a great time today. Did you have a good time?
I had a great time. I surprisingly this I really enjoyed this. I thought this is going to be another sort of consultation format kind of show, but I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. Well, then my last question to you, Fairlane, is can we get you back on the show sometime in the future?
Of course, I'd love to. I'd love to.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Fairlane. It's been fantastic. It's been fantastic. We had lots of people watching the live, so that's great. That's absolutely great. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Fairlane Raymundo. She is a phenomenal PR genius for small business owners. So if you are looking to get some savvy advice and have somebody really help you understand the value and the power of using PR in your business, book that free consult right now. Go over to RacoMedia.net, grab that free consult, and find out exactly how Miss Fairlane can help you achieve some incredible results with your small business. So thank you once again for watching this, you guys. I had a ton of fun. I hope you got great value out of today. Once again, she has been Fairlane Raymundo. I have been Michael Bridgman. You have been awesome. This has been another episode of the Marketing Wizards Inner Circle. So go out there, my friends, enchant your audience and make some magic happen. And I will see you next week on our next interview. Ciao for now.